Thank you. And again, to echo Adrian's comments, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your day and joining us for this webinar. So I'm the Director of Channel Partner Sales here at APS, and Bryce is our credit card processing guru, or our ERP implementation engineer. So what we're going to do today is basically talk about the challenges that you find in processing credit cards, or that your customers find with credit card processing. We'll walk you through a demo, show you our integration, and then talk a little bit about how you would integrate with APS and next steps. And again, as Adrian said, if you have questions, we will definitely want to address those at the end, so don't hesitate to put them into the question mark window. So who's APS? We've been in the payment processing industry for over 25 years and have a depth of knowledge across our company with our employees. We just became certified with Acumatica, so we're very happy to be able to display that seal in the lower part of the screen here. We also have integration with other ERPs, including Sage, QuickBooks, and SAP Business One. We've processed for thousands of customers, both in the US and in Canada. We are very proud of our customer support team. They're live, real people that answer the phone. We don't do a queue or a ticket system. You get to talk to the customer support person to address any concerns or questions that you have. And we're headquartered out in Mesa, Arizona, and then have additional offices across the US and in Canada. So I talked about our integrations with ERPs. It's also important for a lot of customers that are running their business on a day-to-day basis to understand the other integrations. So we have integrations with Magento, Website Pipeline, Shopify, WooCommerce, and then on the mobile side, we work with both iOS and Android, and then many other integrations. A lot of custom integrations, a lot of smaller types of e-commerce shopping carts, so that we can make sure we support your entire workflow. So, the credit card processing challenges. It can get crazy sometimes with your merchant statements. They're confusing, and it's basically, oftentimes we find that our customers just pay them. They don't understand the figures on them, they don't understand the rates, they don't understand anything because it's not really written out in a clear to understand way, and sometimes that's done on purpose. There are rates that are included in those merchant statements that are outrageous. They vary from month to month. Oftentimes you find compliance fees that are included and no explanation, and then there's other fees that really tend to run the statement amount up, that whether they're junk fees, setup fees, module fees, and support fees. The way we address this is we make it very, very simple. Our merchant statements are easy to read, guaranteed rates, so they do not fluctuate. Whatever we show you once we analyze your merchant statements, that is guaranteed for the life of our business relationship. We offer support to make sure that you are PCI compliant. It's very important if you're accepting credit cards, and we want to do everything that we can to help you in that area. And then we don't have additional fees that are regarding modules or setup or maintenance or support. You basically, there's no extra fees. So a few other benefits that we do offer. I mentioned our on-site support team that we're very proud of. We've been doing this for a very long time, and we do everything in-house, so we have a streamlined installation process that allows for faster onboarding, and it allows for better communication so that we can get you up and running sooner than later. As I mentioned earlier, we can process internationally right now in Canada and in the US, and looking at opening up Mexico later this year. We have, you will have access to an online portal which allows you to run reports on the transactions that you do. There are no merchant support fees, which we just talked about. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in a second, but we offer American Express OptBlue program, and we'll go into those details. and then level 3 processing. And both of those can save you significant dollars on a yearly basis. And then we do provide next day funding. So that also is very important. From an Acumatica perspective, I mentioned that we are certified. There's daily automatic batch reporting. We are very focused on protecting the private data in our vault, so nothing is stored on the Acumatica instance. It's tokenized and sent to our vault. And then there's opportunity for multiple address verifications, again, just for the safety of the credit cards that you're processing. So with that, Bryce, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk a little bit more about Level 3 processing and the OptBlue program.
Awesome. Thanks, Tricia. So one thing I will say, I've been talking about Level 3 for a number of years now. I've been at American Payment Solutions for 5 years. We've had this solution really the month I joined APS is when we first launched Level 3 in our gateway. It's been around since about 2011. And back when I first started, Level 3 was a talking point for me, and I spent 99% of my time trying to explain what Level 3 is and that it actually is a real program by Visa and MasterCard. I will say now that it's 2016, many people have an idea of what it means. Some people actually know it pretty well and can speak to it, and we don't have to explain it too much. But since there's a lot of people on this call, we're going to start at the basics. So Level 3 processing is a program by Visa and MasterCard mandated by the U.S. government, so it's only available in the U.S., for business-to-business and business-to-government transactions to where instead of paying a high interchange rate, which is a percent you pay on every transaction, now you pay a lower interchange rate. It typically saves you about 1%. And it has to be put through a gateway and a system like we've developed with Acumatica and is now certified to get that additional 1% discount off of the fee you pay. So again, it can significantly lower the transaction fees. Just one quick story, there was a company out of the Midwest that was a mid-market ERP end user. They were a manufacturer of pipes and other oil digging supplies. They had decent credit card volume. It wasn't the highest I've seen by any means, but it was 100% B2B. Obviously, no individuals were buying oil drills. And based on the volume that they were running, we actually were able to save them over $100,000 a year in credit card fees, simply by gathering additional data when you run a transaction and sending it to Visa and MasterCard. The nice thing about the integration we've written with Acumatica is we automatically pull those items required for Level 3 directly off of the sales order, off of the invoice, or off the customer. So from an end user perspective, and Tricia will show you when she demos, you aren't doing additional work to process your transactions, but on the back end, we are sending that additional information to Visa and MasterCard to make those qualifications. And just a couple examples, item commodity code, item description, item quantity, ship to address, ship from address. Those are some of the items that Visa and MasterCard require in order for you to qualify for that lower interchange rate. So one of the other programs I wanted to talk about a level point of view is American Express OptBlue. So again, this is a United States program. I will say that we are working with American Express to launch this in Canada as we speak. So hopefully Canadian market will open up relatively soon for this. But if you're a small, really an SMB credit card user, meaning you're processing less than like $10 million a year on credit cards, odds are you're going to qualify for American Express OptBlue. And traditionally with American Express, as many of you know, many of you may still be set up this way, you actually had two separate merchant IDs. You had one issued by your credit card processor for your Visa MasterCard Discover, and then you also had a separate merchant ID directly with American Express. So there's a couple of challenging points when you have two separate merchant IDs. One is going to be your reconciliation. So typically with Visa MasterCard Discover, usually your deposits are coming within 24 hours, where with American Express it can be 2, 3, 4 business days. So OptBlue solves that problem. You get all of your processing in one batch the next day from APS. The second large point is the fees. So American Express traditionally is definitely the highest credit card rate that you as a merchant have to pay every time you accept an Amex card, where on OptBlue, now even if you're a wholesaler accepting corporate cards, you can actually get it down as low as 2.5% now, which traditionally you're paying 3 to 3.5% for American Express. And there's definitely some other benefits to this too. One is chargeback assistance. So we as a company have been assisting our customers with chargeback since 2004, I believe. And we've really streamlined that process. So now we're able to assist with any chargebacks or complaints from your customers on Amex as well, so you don't have to go through the American Express queue, which can definitely take some time. There's a couple of other small benefits. I don't want to get into it too much, but if you are an Amex user, you accept American Express's payment, and you're not too familiar with OptBlue, I'd highly recommend talking to us. Again, Level 3 is by far the largest savings program we have. American Express has definitely added some flavor to the amount of savings we can provide you or your clients if you're a Acumatica reseller. So I think with that, I'm going to give it back to Tricia. Yeah, no problem.
All right, so bear with me, and I will pull up my Acumatica instance, and we will walk through a demo. Let me back up a second. To install our integration within Acumatica, it's very simple. It's simply 2 files, and you publish that, and we work with you to set up your instance by setting up APS as the processing center, as Bryce mentioned earlier, establishing some of the level 3 data as far as item commodity code, ship from zip code, things along those lines, so you don't have to enter them on an ongoing basis. So what I'm going to do here is just walk through what is a typical workflow process within Acumatica. And I've come to the Finance tab and the Accounts Receivable. So I've pulled up a customer record, and I'm using the demo instance of Acumatica. So I'll go to my friends at ABC Studios. So if you were to go into a customer the first time, the most important thing is to make sure that they have a payment method attached. So for any of the transactions where the payment method field is present, that you can select their preferred payment type. The nice thing is, some of you may know, with Acumatica, you can attach as many credit cards as you would like to a particular record. So if it's a company and they use different cards for different reasons, then you can have multiple Visas or a combination of Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. So like I mentioned, the processing center is set up for American Payment Solutions. What you do need to do when you're attaching a payment method is you want to identify the account where those funds will be deposited. So I have selected my account. When I selected Visa, you can see that these fields opened up down here. So this is where you would actually add the specific credit card that you're attaching to this particular record. And we will associate this with Sam. And give it an expiration date, and then put in the verification code. So you'll notice as I tabbed out of each field, it basically zeroed out. What that's doing is that is basically showing you that the data has been tokenized and sent to our vault. Sam's Visa credit card is not housed on Acumatica, and again, this goes back to level 3, or to PCI compliance. So we'll save this record. And then you can click here and you can see the profile ID. And this basically is what identifies that particular Visa with ABC Studios and the owner of that Visa. So now we'll go ahead and come over and build a sales order. So we'll stick with our ABC Studios today. And then you do want to always add a customer order. Go ahead and create a sales order. So as I save this, you'll notice that the total is visible up here on the screen. Now, what's nice with Acumatica, after you build the sales order, is you can come over to the payment settings. You'll see here's the Visa that we just added, and I can actually pre-authorize the payment here. And for those of you not familiar with pre-authorization, what that means is that it basically checks to make sure that the $240 associated with this particular sales order is available on that credit card. And it, for lack of a better term, it reserves it. And it does not charge the card yet. So you can authorize it, or you can capture it. And capture actually means billing that particular credit card at that time. The other nice thing about this is you can come right here, you can create your shipment. So we built the sales order, we're now creating a shipment for our particular sales order. So now I have a shipment prepared. I can confirm the shipment, say, yep, that's absolutely what I want to ship. For those of you not familiar, this is our little Acumatica wheel. And then I can go ahead and prepare the invoice. So I've started with the sales order, the shipment's ready to go, I'm preparing the invoice. And here we are now with our invoice that has been prepared off of that initial sales order. So in order to charge the customer, you come over to the Payments tab, and you can see it's a little bit different. You can go ahead and authorize the payment. And again, this is reserving that amount of $240 on that particular credit card. And you'll see down here that you get a transaction number and that it was successfully done. So you know that when you're ready to capture or bill this particular customer, that those funds are available. So we'll go ahead and capture it right now. And it's been approved. And the same number that was in with the authorization moves to the capture. So now you basically, without moving screens, have created that sales order, created the shipment, built an invoice, ensured that those funds are available, and billed that customer with the credit card that's attached to the customer. Now, the other thing that you will get with our solution is basically access to the merchant portal. So it's specific to your account, and every transaction that you run is in here. The nice thing about this is you can run just an amazing number of reports. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go in and look at the transactions that I've run for today. So we'll go to the end because we've been kind of busy. So here's ABC Studios, and it's the $240 that we just ran. And you can see that it's approved. It went through the authorization and then a capture. I can click in here. And what's nice is in here is some of the information that is critical in order to get those level 3 savings that we talked about earlier. So you have the shipping information, and you have, the specific item information, and it also down here shows you the card authorization and the capture and the dates and times that was done. So you may be pre-authorizing something early, and then you capture it at the end of the day when you batch out. So that's really it from a demo perspective. Let's go back here to our presentation. And, we do have a combination of resellers, Acumatica resellers, as well as customers on the phone. So just a quick couple of notes about our partner program. We are 100% partner driven, as is Acumatica. We do provide a partner portal that is specific to your customers that work with APS. Our resellers are sometimes very involved in the sales cycle and sometimes much less involved. So it's really up to you and how much you want to be on the calls, the discovery calls, the implementation calls, things along those lines. We work with our resellers to provide webinars to your install base, to your prospect base, as well as do a lot of training so that you're very comfortable with our solution, and then provide marketing kits that you are welcome to white label. So for those of you sitting on the call, what's the process? I'm already using credit cards. What do I do next? What we do is we would analyze your merchant statements, and typically we ask for 2 months because that gives us kind of a little bit of a history, if you will. And we complete that analysis, and then we set up a time with you to review that analysis and show you where we can do the savings, such as Bryce was talking about specifically with Level 3, with American Express, and there's other areas. If we find that some of those fees that I mentioned earlier on, we'll identify those for you and show how we can provide you with savings on a monthly and yearly basis. Then once you complete the application process, we hand it off to our implementation team, and they work with you to install this on your instance of Acumatica and to train you. And Bryce and I are always here to help as well. So next steps, merchant statements or discovery calls to learn a little bit more. We have a blog that allows you to keep in touch. We have webinars that are posted on our event page on our website, and we also try to keep very active on Twitter. So it's a great way to keep up with where we're going to be, what events we're attending, and what's going on here at American Payment Solutions. So I think, Adrienne, with that, we're probably ready to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Tricia. So we do have one question here. What does the typical implementation look like? How long does it take once you've decided to move forward with your credit card processing solution with Acumatica? How long does it take to get it implemented?
Bryce, do you want to take that?
Sure. So from beginning to end, when it comes to doing the analysis and filling out the application, obviously that's just going to be dependent on your approval process internally. Once we have all the underwriting documents to set up your gateway and set up your account, typically it's going to be about 3 to 5 business days till we're ready on our end to deploy. During that underwriting process, a project manager would be assigned, and they're going to be reaching out to you. So once you're ready to install, the actual installation is actually very, very simple. As Tricia had mentioned, there's literally 2 files that we're publishing. So from an installation standpoint, we're talking about 20 to 30 minutes. From a training perspective, however, it's really going to depend on your comfort level with Acumatica. If you're a brand new user of Acumatica, obviously training might take a little bit longer, maybe a few hours to train your whole staff, whoever's actually going to be touching the sales order and invoices for payments. Where if you're already using an integrated solution and you're switching because our solution is certified, you're switching because of the savings that we're able to provide are level 3, your training is obviously going to be a lot quicker because you're already used to the workflow within Acumatica. So realistically, from us receiving statements to being deployed on your system, I would say comfortably within 2 weeks we would have everything ready to go.
And is it pretty painless too? Like, it doesn't take a lot of work to switch over, right?
Not at all, no. In fact, if you have an existing merchant account, which obviously you typically would, we even help pay the cancellation fees. In most cases, we actually pay the full amount. So literally there's no dollar amount that you're going to pay to switch, since we have no software fees or module fees or training fees, and we'll even pay your existing cancellation fee. The paperwork is very simple. We have a 2-page merchant application. It's very standard. We actually have been really, really innovative on that side compared to like a Square or a PayPal. So we've done a really good job of streamlining the process to make it simple.
And we have another question. Thank you, Jean, for this question. Can a customer pay their own invoices via a portal?
So from our APS portal, the back-end reporting that Tricia was showing, we do have the ability for you to send out an invoice to pay from our portal. That's not fully integrated within Acumatica. So if you have an invoice built and a customer profile already, you can send an email via our APS portal to have your clients pay via credit card through that email. And I guess one other point to that too, it is PCI compliant, so when they click that link, it actually opens up basically another browser that's actually our APS gateway. It's vaulted, so they type in the credit card. It's not going to actually save that credit card for future use. If you'd like them to be set up on recurring payments, which we can also do, you would take that payment over the phone the first time and then set it up internally yourself. And I hope that answered your question, Jane.
And it looks like here, do you have any customer success stories that you can talk about where a customer saved a significant amount of money going from their old solution to your solution?
Sure. So a couple of statistics on that, and we do have several customer references in the SMB world, and all over the country and internationally too. So if you're looking for a specific type of merchant you'd like to talk to about their switch to us, we have many references for you. But just a couple of statistics for you. Our average medium-sized ERP end user is saving anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000. That's kind of the typical range. Again, the highest one I personally have dealt with was a little over $123,000 we saved them the first year. But again, if you would like to talk to somebody individually about their process of switching to APS, we have many customers that can fit the profile you're looking for.
And I'm not seeing any more questions at this time. Great presentation, you two. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody out there for taking an hour, or actually a half hour out of your time today to learn a little bit more about the credit card processing solution integrated with Acumatica. And it's certified now with Acumatica. I just read a press release from you guys where you had indicated that you're now a certified integrated partner with Acumatica. So all exciting news. Would you guys like to close out with any further comments?
No, just a big thank you to everyone on the call, and I'll go ahead here, and here's our contact information. So if you have any questions, need any other points that we discussed clarified, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I know Adrian will be sending out a follow-up email as well.
And that will also contain Trisha's and Bryce's contact information along with the recording. And just thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week. Take care.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.